How's everybody doing? It's Douglas here, and welcome to a sort of special video. I'm going to be using NBA 2K16 as sort of a testing ground to see how the 95 to 96 Chicago Bulls would do in today's NBA. And I'm interested to see this simply because, well, we know that the Golden State Warriors broke the Bulls' regular season record of 72-10 and is now 73-9. So, just kind of wanted to see what would happen if the Bulls were on the other end of the spectrum in the Eastern Conference. We're basically just going to replace this year's Chicago team. I figure that's kind of the easiest way we could go about doing this. And just for the sake of things, we're actually going to add a draft class because I want, maybe, just maybe, I didn't do a season for this particular reason. Maybe we want to do multiple seasons just to see what would happen even farther down the road. But basically, simulation difficulties on 50, all that's on 50. I'm not going to mess with it. I think injuries are on, everything's normal, so I'm just going to simulate to the end of the season and see what happens. So the Bulls start off with 4-0, 5-0. They just continue to win games. I'm very curious to see who they're going to slip up against because it's going to happen. Well, I mean, they could go 82-0. Who knows? And we're just going to automate that. And, of course, disable CPU trades because that doesn't make sense. We can't make trades with a team that's already done and gone. And they've beat the Warriors in their first, and we're always going to have CPU. Well, we're going to have CPU adjust rotation, but I'm going to not do it automatically so that way we know who gets injured and what time, because injuries can happen. It's a part of the game. So, Dennis Rodman, day to day. But in the first matchup against the Warriors, the Bulls absolutely decimate them 112-77 and still have not lost a game. Whew. And Dennis Rodman's really having some struggles, but how much will it really matter when you have Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen? Apparently it matters a little bit because the owner, or part owner of the Charlotte Hornets, Michael Jordan, has just upset Michael Jordan. That's interesting. And the Clippers beat the Bulls as well. Oh, whoa! The Philadelphia 76ers have just beat the Chicago Bulls. How does that make sense? That's literally like one of the worst teams in basketball history beating one of the best teams in basketball history. How? That is the equivalent of a 16 seed beating a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. That literally would not happen. I guess this is why it's 2K, but the Cavs are 27-3 as well. This season is absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to simulate to the trade deadline, and we're going to kind of compare how the Warriors are doing, how the rest of the league is doing, if I can even find the trade deadline. Let's just go to the All-Star break, and then we'll see what happens. We're not that far away from it. But so far, this is an absolutely scorching start to the beginning of the season. From the Bulls, Cavs, and I would assume Warriors are doing just fine as well. But it's hard to say. I've done my fair share of simulating seasons, and Warriors, Spurs, and Thunder all do a mixture of things. Like sometimes the Thunder will have 60-some wins, like 65, 66. Spurs will have around that, and sometimes the Warriors. So it's just hard to say, but Bulls versus Cavs, Cavs end up winning that one. So I don't know, I think an Eastern Conference Finals between the Bulls and Cavs would definitely be something to see for NBA fans everywhere. We have like Luke Longley and Bill Winnington getting injured. I don't like they're decent role players, but I just don't think they play that huge of a role in actually getting W's, because I think we'll see at the All-Star break just how big of an impact Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen have on this team, and I've got to see this. Just beat the Atlanta Hawks silly. As I was just criticizing Luke Longley, He puts up 18 and 6. But just an absolutely abysmal effort from the Atlanta Hawks. Man. 22 of 67 as a team. That's no bueno in the NBA. But statistics, we're just going to go to player stats. Michael Jordan is averaging 36.8 points per game, something I believe he didn't even do. I believe the most that he averaged per season was around 32.5. Could be wrong about that. It could have easily been 35. I don't have the statistics right in front of my face. But 36.8, nearly 37 points per game, 8 rebounds, 5 assists roughly, 1.5 steals, a little over 1 block. Scottie Pippen doing good as well. League leaders, no surprise there. No surprise really in any of those statistics. That looks pretty accurate to me. We won't really go down that road too much. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan are all-stars, no surprise. And Michael Jordan is absolutely dominating in Player of the Week, so that is pretty much going to translate into MVP. Unless Michael gets hurt or something like that, he's going to be the MVP. And Tony Kukoc up there for Sixth Man of the Year, that's something that's very interesting in my eyes because, you know, the Bulls kind of need Kukoc. Like, they needed Kukoc to really set them apart from the rest of the field, and I think that's what's helping out this time around. It all started in the '92 Olympics, whenever Kukoc and Jordan and the Dream Team clashed. Kind of put things into perspective for Kukoc, made him a better player, and actually played with Jordan. It's a very interesting story. I wonder if there's a documentary about that specific thing. But let's just finish out the rest of the season. And I want to simulate this game, but I still want to look at we need to look at the standings while we still can. It's something I didn't do. Yeah, let's just go to conference standings. Golden State doing just fine, 40 and 12, and of course the big three of the West as projected. But the Bulls and the Cavs just have a whole new understanding of basketball. 23 and 3 at home for both. But here's the huge thing about the Chicago Bulls: 25 and 1 on the road. And I think that's something that would translate. If this team actually did play in this era, they would dominate on the road. Maybe not to the extent we're seeing in this simulation, but I believe they can handle adversity just about as better than any other team to ever exist on the road. I think it's just because of the mentality. Like, obviously, I'm not old enough to really know home and away games back then, but I imagine home court was a smaller deal than it is now. I feel like home court, in a way, plays a huge role in today's NBA than it used to. I don't know, I could be wrong about that, but I just feel like road wins were more prevalent back in the mid-90s than they are today. That's just speculation, though. I'd really have to look into that to really know. And Steve Kerr's out 6 to 8 weeks, so it looks like he might be back in time for the finals against Golden State, against the team that he was coaching. I didn't actually see the record that the Bulls recorded, so I'm going to have to go back and look, but I know it was better than their best. Okay, so we have Ron Marinson as head coach instead of Phil Jackson, and still managed to go 65 and 7. So if the Chicago Bulls played in today's NBA, they would break their own record and Golden State's current record of 73 and 9. So we are just going to go game by game, and oddly enough, just coincidentally enough, the Chicago Bulls are going to go up against the Charlotte Hornets. So there's just going to be connections all over the place. Okay, so that's just about what you'd expect to happen through and through. I'm expecting the Bulls to maybe lose one game here, if not sweep, but it looks like they are going to sweep. And Cavaliers in a bit of trouble with the Toronto Raptors. We'll see what happens. And the Toronto Raptors have beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. That is something. Wow, by 1 point in Game 6. Man. Everyone's healthy, too. I was really looking forward to an Eastern Conference Finals with LeBron James and Michael Jordan, but apparently that's not in the cards. Toronto comes out and gets Game 1. Despite Jordan, Pippen, and Harper's performance, DeMar DeRozan, Jordan, you got to play some defense on the guy. He went 10 for 16. 2-point win nonetheless. I'm going to view the box score every single time now since this is the Eastern Conference Finals and beyond. Kyle Lowry had a decent game, but Jordan, we're seeing some good defense. That's for sure. Toronto, this is surprising me. How did they win this game? Obviously by scoring more points, but I don't honestly. I guess, I mean, they were able to take and make more field goals than the Chicago Bulls. 0 fast break points. Points in the paint, they got dominated. Assists, quite even. Bench points. I don't understand. By looking at blocks, I guess. Turnovers, points off turnovers, maybe. I don't know. It looks as if, just looking at the box score, the Chicago Bulls should have won that game. And John Sally has a broken ankle. He's out for the rest of the season. And the Toronto Raptors go up 3-1 against the Chicago Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know what is going on right now. DeRozan again. Jordan had 41 shots, 17 of 26 from the field, and the Bulls still lost by 1 point. Whoa. And they shot better. Threes. That's something that's killing the Bulls, is not being able to connect from downtown. I still believe, if I'm not mistaken, they were without Steve Kerr. Or, yeah, he must have just came back in the rotation. He's hurt. He's just now getting back in the swing of things. It's do or die time for the Chicago Bulls. Okay, so they win to send it to a Game 6. Scottie Pippen this time is a high point man. Jordan with 29, 8, 8, and 4. Not as good of a performance for DeRozan. Played 41 minutes, had 7 points. 3 of 18 from the field. That's the Michael Jordan effect in full effect. They force a Game 7, and on the other end of the spectrum, OKC beats Golden State in 5. This scenario, man, something else. Again, DeRozan, 3 of 14. Michael Jordan's really gearing down defensively in this series. 41 points for MJ, 19 of 31 from the field. He's making a high percentage of his shots as well. Game 7, I'm thinking about going to a simcast for this. I think we will. And we're going to simulate it kind of slow here. Bulls are at home. The Raptors jump out to a 4-point lead after the first quarter. Chicago Bulls close the distance, and now it's really neck and neck. Should be a very interesting finish to this game, a very defensive third quarter, and it looks like the Chicago Bulls are starting to pull away, and they do. They come back from 3-1 down to go to the NBA Finals, something the Warriors could not do. Just wow. And if I had to guess, if I look at the Raptors box score, I'm just gonna bet that DeRozan has less than 15, and he does. 41 minutes, 4 of 11. That's the difference. The first 3 games, DeMar DeRozan had his fair share. Then Michael Jordan really geared down defensively, it seemed like, or whoever guarded DeRozan. I would imagine it was Jordan, but realistically, you know, maybe they put Jordan on Lowry and Scottie on DeRozan. Who knows? But Now we go up against the Oklahoma City Thunder for the NBA championship. And man, what a road it's been. 2 sweeps and then coming back from 3-1 down, something I believe only 7 teams have done in the history of the NBA. So that's something. That's something. Steve Kerr has fully healed. That's good. But the Thunder with Westbrook and Durant. This is an interesting matchup. Westbrook and Durant versus Jordan and Pippen, or in this case, Kukoc. But Pippen had a tough time against Durant. OKC goes up 2-0, and we're even on Chicago's home court. So 41 from Jordan. Westbrook, he is just going to demolish Ron Harper and Steve Kerr. I'll tell you that. And Durant, somewhat contained by Pippen, 10 of 22. But the role players getting involved for OKC. So this could be, oh man. Westbrook again with a huge triple-double. The Thunder apparently signed Kyle Korver throughout the season, made a trade for him. That's kind of deadly, to be honest. Durant couldn't perform, but Jordan just trying to will his team. Can the Chicago Bulls come back from a 3-0 deficit? That is the question. They win Game 4. Durant went off. Westbrook, okay performance, definitely not what he's been doing in the series so far. Jordan, 43 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. I'm just going to let you know right now, if this happens, I'm going to simcast for these games. If the Chicago Bulls come back from 3-0 down to win an NBA championship, I'm going to go ballistic. Already, I think it's been somewhat unrealistic as the Bulls are starting to pull away here. It's been what I would believe is unrealistic in my eyes. Well, they're starting to come back. Interesting. 46 points from Jordan. He's just packing it on in these finals, just willing his team. But can Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook be better than Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan combined? That's the main question we got to look at. I don't know. But honestly, I don't know how Toronto had Chicago on the ropes. That was ridiculous. And I really don't know how this Thunder team has the Bulls on the ropes. I mean, 75-7 in the regular season. I guess we're learning real quick that regular season record does not matter when it comes to playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. Simulate with Simcast again. This time we're in OKC. They know they have to close it out. They know they can't go to a Game 7 in Chicago. What's going to happen? So far, the Chicago Bulls are holding off the Oklahoma City Thunder in what is one heck of a performance. It's close, but the Chicago Bulls just edge out the Oklahoma City Thunder. 31 points, 10 rebounds this time. Not as high scoring as a performance from Jordan, but still in the 30s. Kevin Durant with 29-11. Russell Westbrook really nowhere to be found, even though, to be fair to him, 10 points, 11 assists, 6 rebounds. It's hard to judge how good Westbrook's performances is because he gets close to that triple-double just about every single time on 2K. But 3 for 13 from the field, I think that's a fair way to judge that he did not perform as well as he should. And Kevin Durant probably should have took more shots as he shot over 50% or just over 50%. So, what a series this is. The Chicago Bulls down 3-0 in the NBA Finals against OKC have come back to tie the series, and now we go to a Game 7 in Chicago. Oh my gosh, the Oklahoma City Thunder open up on a 14-0 run and close the quarter 40-11, and I think this series might be over. This is absolutely ridiculous, unless there's a fourth quarter of the ages, but it doesn't look like it. Wow, and the Oklahoma City Thunder just won the championship in Chicago. Alright, yeah, that's Jordan only with 15 points, 7 of 26 from the field. Durant and Westbrook actually showed up in Game 7. Adams had 5 blocks. Wow. Did not expect that first quarter at all. 40-11 in the first quarter. 53%, 41% three-pointer. 1 of 7 for the Bulls from downtown. They really focused on the inside game. Points in the paint. I think the Bulls have probably won that just about every single time against all their opponents. But apparently Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant are going to get the better of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. This is almost unbelievable. When you just look at it, we have... Well, that's going to do it for this simulation. The Chicago Bulls almost pulled off the impossible, but somehow did not pull it off in Game 7. Michael Jordan has never been to a Game 7 in the NBA Finals before. He's always closed it out in 6. Wow. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and as always, have a nice day.